Good morning, St. Nick's. Welcome to my second assembly of the term, so week 2 already. I hope you have had a very lovely week. Now, I am following on from Mr. Harvey's theme this week of working together and how we are stronger when we are together. So, I like to be able to tell you a story. You may have realised that by now. Now, I know Mr. Harvey told you the story of Nehemiah and how he had to work together to rebuild the walls in Jerusalem, and that he wasn't a builder and that he wasn't able to do that by himself. It was an absolutely huge job, and so he had to get people from all around him to come and help him, and that by working together they were much stronger and therefore were able to do it. Now, I know another story about people that had to work together to be able to do something to make them stronger. And this is a story that you may have read when you were maybe a bit smaller. And it is the story of the enormous turnip. So the story of the enormous turnip is that there was an old man, and he had a garden and he used to grow his vegetables. And in his vegetable patch, he was growing turnips. Just normal turnips like you or I might grow. And one day he woke up and he'd been watering all of his vegetables every day. But this day he woke up and he found that the turnips that he was growing them, one of them was absolutely enormous, huge. So he was astounded and thought, oh, I'm going to have to pull up that turnip. So he went over and he went to pull it and he pulled it and he pulled it, but it was stuck in the ground and he couldn't get it out because it was too big and he just wasn't strong enough. So he shouted to his wife, who was inside in the kitchen, please come and help me pull out this enormous turnip. So she stood behind her husband and they grabbed hold of the turnip and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled. But the turnip was still stuck. So they didn't know what to do. So over in the field that they could see from their house, they saw a little boy who was playing. So they said, please come here and help us because we have a turnip stuck in the ground and we can't get it out. So the little boy ran over and the old woman held on to the old man and the little boy held on to the old woman and they grabbed hold of the turnip. And they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, but still the turnip was stuck. They weren't strong enough. So they looked over again and they saw a little girl playing. So they shouted over to the little girl, please will you come and help us because our turnip is stuck in the ground. So the little girl ran over. The old lady held on to the old man. The little boy held on to the old lady and the little girl held on to the little boy, and they pulled the turnip. And they pulled and they pulled and they pulled the turnip. No, nothing happened. So they got the old man's little dog and they said to the dog, could you come over and help us? Now, surprisingly, the dog knew what they were saying and the dog came over. And the old lady held on to the old man, the little boy held on to the old lady, the little girl held on to the little boy, and the dog grabbed hold of the little girl at the back and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled. Still no turnip. So they looked around and they saw a cat. And so they said to the cat, please will you come and help us? And again, really surprisingly, the cat knew exactly what they were saying. So the cat came over and the old man grabbed the turnip, the old lady grabbed the old man, the little boy grabbed the old lady, the little girl grabbed the little boy, the dog grabbed the little girl at the back, and the cat held on to the dog's tail, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled. No turnip. So finally, they looked all around and they saw a donkey in the field. And they said to the donkey, please come here and help us. We've got all of us pulling this turnip and we are just not strong enough. So the donkey came over and you know what happened. The old man grabbed the turnip. The old lady grabbed the old man. The little boy grabbed the old lady. The little girl grabbed the little boy. Then the dog held on to the little girl, and the cat held on to the dog, and the donkey held on to them all at the back. And this time they put all of their strength in it together. And they counted and they said, on 3, we're going to pull this turnip. 1, 2, 3, and they pulled and they pulled and pop, out came the turnip. Now they were so happy that they had managed to work together. They then all sat together and had the turnip for their tea. Now, the old man couldn't do that on his own. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't strong enough with just one person or 2 people or 3 people helping him. He needed lots of people to come together to all focus on one thing to help him. Now that happens a lot in our school. So sometimes we are trying to do things and it's just really hard when we're on our own. So we need other people to come along and help us. It might be we need one person to help us. So it might be that we're struggling with a subject, but when somebody's with us, we're much stronger and we know how to do it. It might be that as a whole team, like as our teachers, we've all had to come together and we've all had to come up with plans of how we're going to come back to school. Now, not one of us could have done that by ourselves, but together as a team, we were much stronger and we were able to work it out. Now, another thing that I was thinking of was a loom band. And I'm not sure if you all know what a loom band is. Now, loom bands are these tiny little bands that you get and you can make things from them. Now, this is a little tiny band. Now, on its own, I'm not sure that it's very strong. So we're going to test it. I'm going to pull the loom band and see how strong it is. Slightly nervous about the loom band. Oh! And the loom band broke. But I know, because my children have done it this weekend, if I put the loom bands together, like this, look, this is lots of little loom bands all tied together. If I pull this, it's much stronger than the individual loom band. So when we're all together, when we're all tied together, when we're all working together as one, we are so much stronger. Now, these were really good fun to make. So if you've got any of these lying around at home that you've forgotten about, get them out and put them all together, because look at all of the beautiful creations that we made this weekend. Right, close your eyes, we're going to say a prayer. Dear God, thank you for my friends, thank you for my classmates and my teachers, and thank you that we are all able to work together, to support each other, to achieve great and marvellous things. Amen. Have an amazing weekend, because I think this is a Friday assembly, and I will see you again next week.